Hello, Missladypetal here. Now I have decided, I thought I would show you what I'm going to do with a couple of these things as far as letter journals go. I'm going to do some jelly printing today, and I have my huge jelly plate. It's 12 inches by 14 inches. And I bought it so that I could use large printing plates on it. Things like this placemat, which will go fabulously well, and this one that I showed in my vlog last week, which I bought specifically to go on this plate, which I think will be amazing. It's a felt placemat, but I think it will be absolutely amazing. Now, the reason I'm going to start, and my husband went to a... we're in information technology, so we're in IT, and he went to a product thing last night and came home with the obligatory show bags full of all different types of things. So I thought, instead of wasting a lot of this paper, I'm going to actually jelly print all over it and make some painted papers. But he also brought home some of these brochures, and they came like that, and they fold out, and I thought they're not really hugely thick, and I thought that they would be fabulous for a cover for a letter journal and would have a tip in. Right, now these were glossy, so you might notice that I have actually coated them and they're no longer glossy. I've coated them in a clear gesso. Actually, I couldn't get Liquitex clear gesso when I went to get it, so I'm using a transparent gesso. Very, very, very similar, although I strongly suspect that this particular brand is a little bit more gritty than the Liquitex. I've got some Liquitex on order. It'll arrive shortly, and then I'll compare the two. So I've got two of these. So these are going to be become two letter journal covers. Now they're thick enough to be a cover, but if I cover these in paper again and glue something or collage something to them, they will be too thick. So all I'm going to do is do some jelly printing over the top. Now I've put the clear gesso on so that the paint will adhere and not scratch off that glossy thing. I also have another one here which is just normal paper, which I will then jelly print, and that will become a signature with a tip in a letter journal. And I have a whole heap of just random pieces of paper that I am actually going to do. I'll just take a lot of the glossy ones out, the really glossy ones, because I think that the paint will scratch off before I pre-coat them. Some of them are satin and a little bit scuffed. So, and these are going to be my painted papers that I use for just the random prints. I also will I've got a big piece of scratch paper that I'm kind of working on. But I've got under here, this was some packing paper that I got with one of my numerous art orders. And it's got some great kind of butcher's paper on it. It's a little bit crumpled, but that's going to give some extra texture in the jelly plate. And I also have a very large brayer. So one that I bought specifically with a very large jelly plate. You can see in relation to that, if that's 12 inches, you can imagine this is probably a 10-inch brayer. And it sticks to that amazingly well. So I also have a bunch of stencils, both handmade and non-handmade. A lot of mark making tools. That was the end off an old peg basket that I had. Some of my hot glue stencils, which I can't wait to see how they look as jelly prints. And just a selection of bits and pieces that I really want to use in this thing. And I'm not having afternoon coffee, I'm actually having Coke. And we'll get this going. I've also got an idea to do some layers, and I've got these were just duct tape things, duct tape and packing tape. I'm going to use them to mask off some areas for later prints. So I finished that lot of jelly printing and it's pretty much dry. And of course you can still see here that I've got all the print, you can still see coming through. So the fine print I don't mind about. It's not even anything extremely exciting. This side I haven't touched at all. And you can still see a lot of what's going on there, but it is, that's working quite well, I think. Those two are working quite well, I think, to see the majority of the patterns that are going on there. But this is only a base coat, okay? So we're just looking at a base coat, and look, left my brayer. I'm going to go pop that in a sink of water. I'll be back.